And now your host, Richard Thomas.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Miracle. Once again, we've assembled a wide variety of inspirational true stories for your enjoyment. Stories that prove that there are forces at work in the universe that defy logical explanation. We begin with what should have been a happy event, a family ski trip to the Colorado Rockies. But this family was about to experience a moment of pure terror that could only be overcome by a miracle. Don and Suzanne Templeton of Albuquerque, New Mexico have always been avid skiers. It's a love they've passed down to their children.
Donnie started when he was about 2, and then Adrian started when she was about 3 years old. She and Donnie are different. He's more laid back, and she's more gung-ho.
Adrian is a very determined girl. She's very competitive. It doesn't bother her a bit that she's the only girl on the all-boys hockey team. She's wild. She likes to have fun.
In January 2001, the Templetons joined Adrian's cousins, Miles and Curtis Maynard, and their parents, Mark and Jane, for a weekend on the slopes.
Jane doesn't like to ski, so I decided not to ski that day.
We're gonna go shopping, so you guys be careful. Bye.
So Dawn and Mark took the kids up skiing.
But before they headed up the mountain, Don and Mark instructed the children in what to do if they got separated.
Buddy system means that you ski with your buddy. That way, if somebody
He
gets
said,
hurt,
if we get separated for whatever reason, we'll meet at the bottom of this chair at 11:30. I wanted Adrian to ride up with Mark and I, because she's the littlest, but she wanted to go with Donnie and Curtis and Miles. We said, okay, we'll meet you at the top. And the plan was we were going to ski together. What happened, though, was they were about 7 or 8 chairs ahead of us. Before we got off the chair, we saw him take off. That's where we got separated.
But Don and Mark weren't that concerned. They knew that their children were all good skiers. Even at the ripe old age of 7, little Adrian had been skiing for years.
She goes off ski jumps with us. She does a lot of things other girls won't do.
When they reached the bottom of the run, they decided to get right back on the lift. Adrian was standing next to her cousin Curtis when things began to go wrong.
We got on and she had gotten on kind of funky, I guess. Her butt wasn't fully on the seat or something. And when I looked over to her, she was sliding off, so I grabbed onto Adrian. I was holding onto her as hard as I could. I didn't want to drop her or anything.
Desperate to keep his sister from falling, Donnie grabbed for her other hand.
And then she's like, "Don't let go of me. Pull me up." We're trying to pull her up, but we're sitting down. It's really hard to pull things up. All that equipment's really heavy, and her glove was slipping off. Her glove slipped off then. Curtis was just holding on with all his might.
As 12-year-old Curtis rallied all his strength to hold on, the chairlift continued to climb the mountain.
I was like, I wish my dad and my uncle were here. Here they come.
The two men were on their way back down the hill when Mark spotted something in the distance.
As I looked down the slope below me, I noticed a child dangling from the chair. From the height involved, I could tell that death was a real possibility for the child.
Don came down the slope just after Mark and heard the commotion.
I could hear somebody yelling that there's a little girl in trouble. And I was hoping, God, I just pray that's not Adrian. And then I just started noticing it looked like her and realized it was her.
Suddenly, the chairlift stopped, leaving little Adrian dangling over 40 feet above the ground.
I just felt so helpless. I just felt like I just cost my little girl's life, possibly, because I'm not up there with her.
I was yelling, I can't hold her. Can't hold her any longer. My fingers were getting numb from holding on to her for so long. I couldn't help it. She was too heavy and fell.
I just thought, oh my God. She hit like a rag doll, and her helmet popped off her head and was rolling down the hill. We didn't know how much damage was done to her. I was just praying that all she did was break her leg. If all she did was break her leg, I'd be thankful.
As the ski patrol evaluated Adrian's condition, the boys watched from above.
We weren't sure if she was alive or not. We just saw her hit the ground. I was trying to tell my cousin that she was okay because he was crying, and we were all crying. We were very scared.
But no one was more terrified than Don Templeton as he watched the ski patrol prepare to take his daughter back down the mountain.
To have to be witness to something like that happening to your child and being totally helpless. I mean, I was worried, my God, she could have a neck injury, or we don't know if her leg's broken yet, or if she has a spinal injury.
Adrian was rushed to a nearby hospital where another surprise was waiting. Miraculously, after a fall of 43 feet, she suffered not one single injury.
The x-rays and the CAT scans hadn't shown any problems, and we were able to walk out of there without even a broken leg.
That evening, everyone was safe at home and life was back to normal.
Normal is everything, you know, we don't realize how good it is just to be back to normal. We take so much for granted. Somebody's life, especially your own child. For me, that's everything to me.
What happened that day was a miracle. We could have lost her in an instant. Adrian would be no more. And yet, she walked away without a scratch, without a bruise. It's just amazing.
And what is even more amazing are the circumstances that combined to save her life.
It's truly a miracle that the kids on the chair could have held her like they did. We think that they held on to her for about 5 minutes, about 2 minutes worth of moving lift and another 3 minutes of stopped lift. And it was particularly fortuitous that they did, because she had have landed 50 yards down, she would have been on flat cement like snow. If she had have landed 75 yards up, it would have been on rocks.
I think that that's a miracle, that falling that far, she didn't get hurt.
When I fell off the chairlift, God was watching over me. He just laid me down softly.
Adrian Templeton fell a distance of over 4 stories, and yet, as she put it, something laid her down gently. Now that's what we call a miracle. Well, we thought we'd check in on the miracle girl, and so the Templeton family join us now from their home in Albuquerque. Hello, everyone. How y'all doing?
Great.
Great, how are you, Richard?
Oh, well, I'm doing fine, but more importantly, how's Adrian?
She's doing fine.
She's a live wire.
I can see that.
She's back to her normal self, basically, is what she's telling you.
Adrian, you know, your brother's right, and I'm sure everyone watching would like to hear from you. Have you been skiing since your accident?
I still went skiing. I was a little nervous. I was thinking that I would fall off again, and I didn't.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Mom, do you have any advice for other parents with young skiers in the family?
The advice I would give is try to ski with your children. And always put the helmets on your children and make sure they wear them.
Well, that's good advice, and I hope everyone watching follows it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Richard.
Have you ever searched for something and have it turn up right under your nose? Well, what would you say if that something had been missing for over 30 years? Would the word miracle come to mind? Well, the man in our next story is positive that his search was given a miraculous helping hand. And when you see what happened, I think you'll agree. David Brinsley led a normal childhood growing up in Northern California, except something vital was missing in his life.
When I was a boy growing up, I didn't know my biological father. I would ask my mom questions about my father, and it was a conversation that she wasn't real comfortable with, and I noticed that.
Part of her reluctance may have been the fact that she'd never told David's biological father that he had a son. And so, while David dreamed of him, there was no father thinking of David.
I would have a lot of thoughts about him, wondering where he was, who he was. My mind would just go crazy with imaginations of, maybe he was some great politician or rich movie star or something. It was painful at times because I didn't know.
It wasn't until he met his future wife, Terry, that the thought of searching for his father became a reality.
When I met my wife and we started to date, she started asking questions about my biological father.
He would talk about the emptiness he had in not knowing his father. He had some questions about, I wonder if I look like him, I wonder if he even knows I exist. And a little part of him wanted to know, but there was more fear of the unknown.
She just kept wanting me to start looking for him. But there was a lot of holes in my heart about that because I didn't know what to expect.
He carried a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness about what he perceived to be the reason his father wasn't in his life. He told me if I ever meet him, I would walk away. I wouldn't want to know him.
But all that changed with the birth of his own son.
When we had Zach, the feelings of fatherhood were just so amazing. I could have never imagined it. How great it is to have the son. It was exciting to me to know that he was going to have his life with his dad and that he was never going to go a day without knowing how much his dad loved him and how special he was.
David suddenly missed his own father more than ever and made the difficult decision to search for him.
I was so excited. I couldn't believe it because this is what I had been hoping for, is what I had been praying for. I just knew it would be a good thing. In my heart, I knew it would be a good thing.
David had little to go on, only his father's name, Larry Lambert.
Through a friend, we ended up with 2 pictures of his father. And when he saw the pictures, I think is when the connection came for him because the likeness was incredible. He looked just like his biological father.
That night, David and Terry prayed for guidance.
I told God that I wanted to find my dad and that I was ready for the search, however long it would be, just to please open those doors.
You know where he is, God. I just pray that you would just open the doors and let me walk through them.
But of course, I had no idea where he was. I didn't know where to even start looking.
Amen.
Amen.
David was prepared for a long and difficult search, but the answer he was looking for would come just a few days later during Sunday service at the Capitol Christian Center.
It's a large congregation. It seats anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 people, and we had our choice pretty much anywhere we wanted to sit. And people streamed in, the place filled up, it was packed that day.
But the seats in front of them remained empty, waiting for a miracle. A few days after that decision, he and his wife Terry attended Sunday service. That same morning, Maria Lee was running late for church.
And I couldn't find my Bible when we were getting ready to leave. I ended up taking a Bible that my grandparents had given to me probably when I was about 13, had my maiden name on it.
She arrived at church moments before the service was to begin.
And we had a very specific place that we sat in the church. Well, this particular morning I walked in and I don't know what happened. I took an about face and I said, I don't know, I don't want to sit in the same spot today. Let's go sit like way over there. And I pointed far to the other side of the church.
As Maria settled in her pew, the first hymn began.
And when we stood, I looked down and I noticed laying in the pew in front of me was a Bible. It was face up and it had a name inscribed on it. And I elbowed Dave and I said, take a look. His eyes lit up.
My mind was just racing on all kinds of thoughts of, wow, who could this lady be with a name that's the same name as my biological father? After service had ended and everybody was leaving, I grabbed her arm and I said,
I noticed the name on your Bible is Maria Lampert. Is that your...
And he said, I know you're going to find this really odd, but...
My biological father's last name is Lampert.
Yeah. I've never met him, and I've been looking for him recently.
I was just wondering if you happen to know anybody named Larry Lampert.
Oh my gosh. My heart started to race. My hands started to sweat.
Are you serious?
Larry Lampert is my dad.
Oh my goodness. You know what?
And at that point, I said, you know, you have the Lampert nose, which I hope didn't offend him, but that's what I said. I mean, we kind of have this dominant nose that everybody in the family has.
Are you serious?
I laughed and I said, well, actually, in the pictures, I do look like my biological father.
In the photos, I look just like him.
Do you really?
I do.
And she said, why don't you bring your pictures over after lunch and I'll look at them.
I'm not doing anything.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll be there.
So I was taking down her name and address, and at the very same time, we both looked up at each other and said,
My dad
works at the phone company.
Oh my gosh.
And at that point, the air was just electric. We just started shaking, and she said, I think you might be my brother. And I said, I think you might be right.
But when they arrived at Maria's home that afternoon, they were greeted by some unexpected news.
Guys,
She opened the door and she said,
ever since I got home,
I hope I don't disappoint you, but I've been calling my grandparents and I've called my aunts and uncles, and nobody has heard of my dad having a son.
Really?
Nobody knows anything about you.
Yeah, so I hope I'm not gonna disappoint you guys getting you all
I just seized the moment and I grabbed the pictures out of Dave's hands and I said, well, there's only one way to find out.
oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, this is my dad.
And she said, that's my dad.
I guess that makes me your brother. She was crying and I was crying. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And then she pushes me back and she says, you have no idea how much family you have.
Actually, this is Grandma. This is Dad's mom.
So Maria took us inside and I started looking at photo albums of this new family that I had just found.
And then Grandpa Bob.
Pictures of grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins, and pictures of my biological father.
Wow. Look at that.
But look.
And I was just overwhelmed because here I was looking at my family.
At that point, Maria called her father, Larry Lampert.
Hi, Dad. He said, hi, babe, how you doing? Fine, I've got something to tell you. Are you sitting down? And he said, no, should I? Well, I have a brother, and you have a son.
And I said, what?
Yeah.
I thought maybe this was the start of a joke or something.
No, I'm not joking.
I said, no, of course. And she said, well, you've got a son.
His name is David. He said, are you serious? Well, what does he look like? Does he look like me? And he just started asking me all about Dave.
He looks just like you, Dad. I'm so happy. Wait till you see him.
And he said, oh my gosh, I just can't believe this.
No, we've been sitting here.
He was very ecstatic. And I don't know that he'll ever admit to it, but I think my dad probably had a few tears falling. I could hear him sniffling a little bit. I certainly was crying.
And after she spoke with him for a while, she passed the phone to me.
Hello?
When I took the phone, my whole life had flashed in front of me as far as all of the fears and feelings and doubts that I had had about my biological father. What was he going to say?
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear from you. All of a sudden, when he got on the phone and said, Dad, it was all I could do to fight back the tears, because I knew just from the sound of his voice that I've got a son all of a sudden.
And I heard David say,
I've been waiting 24 years for this conversation.
and tears were streaming down his face. And it was amazing. It was the greatest gift anyone could get.
Well, it's going to be great meeting you.
At that moment, it took so much pain away that I had felt for so long. You don't know what it means to me to hear you say that. Because here was this myth that I had played out over and over in my mind of what was going to happen when I found him, and he was excited. He wanted a relationship with me. He wanted to meet me.
Unfortunately, Larry lived thousands of miles away in Missouri, and a meeting between father and son would have to wait. In the meantime, David and Terry were invited to meet some other members of his newfound family.
As we pulled up, there was a truck in the driveway that had Missouri plates on it. I wonder whose truck that is. And I thought, uh-oh. Because I didn't know who all was going to be there, but we got out of the car and we proceeded up to the house.
Okay. Dave, we have a surprise for you.
You do?
Yeah,
And there he was, just standing, just to surprise Dave.
David,
It's really good to see you.
just seeing him for the first time, the resemblance, it was almost scary.
This is my wife, Terry.
What a pleasure.
When I saw Dave with his father there face to face, let us know that this was going to be the beginning of a really great journey together.
Who wants a hot dog?
Over here, we want about 4 of them.
As the family celebrated his childhood dream come true, David could hardly believe the enormous joy their reunion had given them.
How much longer?
Having my dad in my life, my biological father, it's such a feeling of fulfillment. There was a big hole in my life that has now been filled. I am just so thrilled that I have Maria in my life now, too. I love her so much.
You need to let me take this over.
Touch it and you're going to get yourself this drink.
I'm like the barbecue queen.
I believe that God was the one who brought us together. I really do. I believe that He knew that we needed each other.
So were your ribs.
So He was going to make sure that it happened, and it did.
Wait a minute. It's just something that I never dreamed possible, having a son and being able to look forward to those moments with David and his family.
You are a fun guy.
It's a great experience.
An experience that might not have happened if David hadn't prayed for guidance, if Maria hadn't picked up a Bible with her maiden name on it, or decided at the last minute to sit in the pew in front of David and Terry.
There's so many variables that all had to line up for this event to occur, and everything happened in just a certain way. It's a miracle.
The only way that I can explain what happened is to say it's a God thing. I asked Him to help me, and He did. And now I have a relationship with my biological father, who now I get to be close to. And all of the rest of the details, they're unimportant. The important part is that now I have a full family who loves me and who I love dearly.
We've presented many stories about guardian angels on this show, but perhaps none as intriguing as the one you're about to see. What makes it so special is that the person who saw the angel had no way of knowing how real it actually was. And it was only after learning all the facts that she realized what she'd witnessed was a miracle. On November 19, 1998, Sarah Barella and her brother Henry were headed to meet friends at a local cafe in Belen, New Mexico.
Take a left.
My brother told me to take a shortcut.
No.
It's much closer. We'll avoid a lot of the lights.
Okay, we're going straight.
I went towards the junior high school, right by the gymnasium.
I want a new car after I graduate. Can I get one?
As I got to the four-way stop, I looked both ways. It was pretty calm. So I started going. Out of nowhere, I saw these two little girls jump right in front of my car. When I felt the impact, I really thought I was going to see a dead person under my car. It was awful.
As I was getting out, she yelled out, "Where's the other one? Where's the other one?"
There was another little girl. Where is she?
She okay?
Oh my God, are you okay?
I'm going hysterical thinking, is she dead? Is she okay? Did she break any bones?
Where's your mom? You need to go get your parents.
13-year-old Ciara Dickens rushed for help.
I ran into the gym, and the lady was looking around for another girl. She was looking underneath her car.
Where's the other little girl?
I was scared. I didn't know what I was gonna find.
Where is she?
I didn't see nothing.
So I kind of figured, well, I guess she's the only one I hit.
Ciara walked in holding Cheyenne, kind of limp in her arms. And the look on Ciara's face told me something was wrong.
Oh my God, my car. Honey, what's going on? She got hit by a car.
My immediate reaction was to run out.
Once outside, Christy Dickens and her husband Bobby tried to assess the situation.
Cheyenne was crying and she was screaming and her face was bleeding. I couldn't tell what was wrong with her.
Oh my gosh.
I kept telling the parents, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm a parent, and my son is my life. Even after I saw the little girl crying and moving, which is a good indication that she's okay,
We'll take care of it.
I still thought of internal injuries. She could still very well die because this impact was pretty heavy. And then when they told me she was only 2 years old, I really thought, this little girl is really hurt.
I held her there for the longest time. The ambulance finally came. I didn't know what was wrong with her. I didn't know if there was anything broken. I just saw blood. I just kept praying and hoping everything was okay.
Mommy's right here. I know that.
Before the ambulance sped away, Sarah had one final request.
So I can call you. Can I call you today?
That's what it is.
She approached me and asked me for my number because she told me that she wanted to call and check up on Cheyenne afterwards.
Inside the ambulance, Christy did her best to comfort her daughter.
I sang to her, Jesus Loves Me. That's her favorite song. And she said that Kaka was with us. She has an imaginary friend. She named her Kaka. I said, well, where's Kaka at? She said, she's right here. And she patted on her lap. She's sitting right here, she said.
While Cheyenne was being checked for internal injuries, Sarah waited anxiously for word of the little girl's condition.
I kept calling the hospital.
Yes. Hello?
They wouldn't give me any information.
I think their name was Dickens.
I just sat here waiting and wondering and just playing the scene over and over in my mind.
Hello?
I finally got that phone call around 6 or 7 that evening.
Hi, how is she?
She had no broken bones. She had no bruises, nothing fractured, nothing whatsoever was even touched except for her face.
I can give you the address.
And I said, it's a miracle, she's fine.
And that's when I asked, can I come over? And to my surprise, they said, yes, come over tonight.
I'll see you tonight.
That made me really happy. Made me feel like these people understood that I was going through a lot as well.
Okay. A short while later, Sarah and Henry arrived at the Dickens home with some small but meaningful gifts.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, it's Christy. This little blonde, yarn-haired rag doll just really caught my eye. And I told my brother, this looks like Cheyenne.
Remember Sarah? This is Sarah from the accident, honey. Look what she brought you.
She walked away with a couple of scrapes. I truly believe this was a miracle. So I thought, I'm gonna get her a little guardian angel pin, just so she has somebody to look over her.
She loves it.
Sarah then shared the strange events she'd experienced earlier that day. How she'd seen not one, but two little girls run in front of her car, and how she'd searched frantically for the other child.
And I noticed Christy's face. She turned to her husband immediately, and I kind of felt like, well, what did I do?
When I heard that she had saw two little girls, I instantly became chilled.
And I can only find one.
I got goosebumps.
Cheyenne had a twin sister.
We told her that Cheyenne was a twin at birth and that we had lost her sister 26 days after she was born.
Cheyenne's twin was named Kennedy, and she was born in a comatose state.
We took both of the girls and put them in the same outfit. She was still in a coma. She never opened her eyes. She never cried. So we took a lot of pictures. And the weird thing is that even though Kennedy was in her coma, she knew where Cheyenne was. If I held them both in my arms, Kennedy would move her head toward Cheyenne. And whenever we moved Cheyenne, Kennedy would turn that way.
Sadly, little Kennedy's life ended less than a month after she was born. But the bond between the twins would be everlasting, for Cheyenne believes that Kennedy is always by her side in the form of her imaginary friend.
That's a bond that cannot be broken, that they spend that much time in the womb together, that they basically share every thought, every action, every reaction together.
Nothing severe, but that really shocked me. I got goosebumps immediately because I knew what I saw. I saw two little girls. They looked identical. So I kind of felt like, well, maybe that was Cheyenne's guardian angel, her twin. She was there.
Today, Cheyenne Dickens is a happy, energetic 5-year-old.
I got it.
I knew that Kennedy was with Cheyenne and has been since the day she was born. To Cheyenne, she's been in spirit. To me, she's been in spirit, but Sarah saw Kennedy and Cheyenne run across the street.
It's a miracle that she's still here. There could have been much more serious things that had happened to her. But to walk away with a scrape on her face after being hit by a car, a 2-year-old, you bet it's a miracle. I know that Kennedy was there. There's no other way to explain it.
Our next story is what we call a video miracle because the entire event was captured on videotape. And without that tape, you might not believe what actually happened. It's the story of two very unusual hunters and the one that got away, or to be more accurate, the one they helped to get away. The hunt for wild animals is usually accomplished with firearms, but for two Canadian brothers, video cameras are their weapons of choice.
There they are. I used to like hunting with a rifle a lot, but when the family grows up and leaves home, you don't need that much meat anymore. I only hunted for meat anyway.
We've had chances to shoot legally, deer, and occasionally moose now, but just the thrill of seeing them, of getting close to them, that's where it's at.
These deer are sure not scared. So now it's more fun to hunt with a camcorder. It's always something new, something different, sometimes even something exciting.
And sometimes even something alarming.
And got tangled up in the wire, and he's breathing his last right now. Nice young, oh, that's terrible. I wanted to put it out of its misery right away, but Ken said he thought we could save it, and I was quite positive that the animal was finished,
He's scared spitless, this guy. When we finally got very close to it, then you could see there was some breath coming from its nostrils and also the eyeball moving around. Just the front legs seem to be tied up. The back legs both appear to be free. John quickly decided to call his wife on the CB radio and have her phone the game warden, which she did. He is obviously injured. The leg's been bleeding. The game warden said not to touch it, but we didn't have the choice, I don't think. Either go for it now or probably lose him completely. You were raised on moose meat and your children were raised on moose meat. It's not every day you get a chance to give one back. Now we've got an audience. Look at that.
I felt if we cut the wire, we could have a problem of bison getting out. After a few minutes, we decided that if I could loosen that high tensile wire, we could possibly maneuver the wires off its feet.
John's trying to release the tension on that top wire.
When I released the pressure by slacking off the wire, the animal actually rolled a bit and struggled to get loose, eh?
Oh, look at him, he's trying to get up. Lots of life left in that guy.
And then I thought, hey, maybe there is a chance that we're gonna save this fella.
But the moose remained hopelessly trapped and firmly secured.
I still think we could get him away a bit. His feet will come out.
You mean pull on the antlers?
Yeah.
Okay, take the rope, put it around his antlers then.
Where is it? I thought if I put the rope around his antlers and could pull from the other side, I'd have a better chance to get away for one thing, so I'll stay clear of his feet.
Yeah, go ahead, pull. John tried to pull the moose free, and he almost got it, but it was twisted in there so bad it wouldn't come completely out. We're close, sir. Pull his leg off that wire, John. Here, let me do it. Here, aim this thing. It's already running.
We're filming?
I decided I wanted to give it a try because I thought maybe I could get right in there by its feet.
I can get the rope on that foot, I think. Yeah, you probably can.
Be prepared to run for the truck. The moose can be very, very dangerous and very, very fast. I've heard of moose attacking people and vehicles and a rail car even, and knocking a rail car off the tracks. That was scary. I mean, grabbing a bull moose by the feet. Ooh.
What's still holding him there?
Oh, it's getting close.
Okay, pull. Give him a pull. Okay, get
The moment his feet came out of the wire, I don't think he knew that he was free. So he just lay there, waiting for the next thing to happen, whatever that might be.
What are you gonna do now?
Make him run. You get ready to run for the...
No, he's not gonna run. He's too hurt.
Come on, go. Come on, go. Come on. You know you're free. Let's go.
After a few gentle taps, the animal rose in all its glory.
Tape him. Okay, that's fine. Just keep taping him.
Unbelievable.
And at that point, he turned around as if to say to us, thanks, guys. And then he headed for the road, and I ran after him and taped him going into the trees across the road. He seems to be okay. There he is, right on the center of the road.
Saved the bugger.
We saved ourselves a bull moose. It was an uplifting experience for both of us. We felt awfully, awfully thrilled that we could return the favor to Mother Nature and let this magnificent animal go free. We think he's going to make it. Wow, does that make us feel good?
Well, that's our show for now. Thank you for joining us, and a special thanks to all the people who shared their remarkable stories on It's a Miracle. It's our hope that whenever you need one, you'll find a miracle in your life, too. Until next time, I'm Richard Thomas. Goodbye.